The 2010s were a wild ride for sci-fi TV. Streaming was exploding, networks were experimenting, and audiences were suddenly juggling time travel, clones, post-apocalyptic rebels, and at least 3 different flavors of parallel universes. Some of these shows became cult favorites, while others quietly vanished. So in this third part of our series on forgotten sci-fi shows, we're spotlighting the overlooked and the criminally underrated gems that made the 2010s such a weird and ambitious decade for the genre. And just to keep things smooth, we're listing the shows in chronological order, from early decade outcasts to late decade gems. Let's jump in! Caprica. Set decades before the events of Battlestar Galactica, Caprica was a moody philosophical prequel that asked the big questions. The show followed 2 families, one grieving a loss, the other seeking technological immortality, whose paths converge as humanity's first artificial intelligence and eventual Cylons are born. With its cyberpunk aesthetic, virtual reality sequences, and corporate intrigue, Caprica felt more like Blade Runner than space opera, but it was rich with ideas and character drama. It didn't last long, but it laid the emotional and thematic groundwork for the larger Battlestar saga. For fans of smart, slow-burn sci-fi, it's absolutely worth revisiting. Falling Skies. Falling Skies dropped us into a full-blown alien invasion. But this wasn't welcome to Earth heroism. It was gritty survival, guerrilla warfare, and humanity hanging by a thread. Produced by Steven Spielberg, the show followed Tom Mason, a history professor turned resistance leader, as he and a ragtag group of survivors tried to outwit and outlast their extraterrestrial oppressors. The aliens were creepy, the tech was menacing, and the emotional stakes were high. It blended family drama with sci-fi action in a way that felt grounded. Falling Skies ran for 5 seasons, but somehow still flew under the radar. Definitely a gem for fans of post-apocalyptic, character-driven sci-fi. Terra Nova. Terra Nova had one of the coolest elevator pitches of the decade. In the year 2149, Earth is dying, so humanity sends colonists back 85 million years into the past to rebuild civilization alongside dinosaurs. The show followed the Shannon family as they joined this new world, dodging prehistoric predators, dealing with rebel factions, and trying to survive a future that looked suspiciously like Jurassic Park. The production value was impressive, and the world had potential, mixing sci-fi tech with primeval danger. Unfortunately, behind-the-scenes issues and a steep budget meant Terra Nova only lasted 1 season. But for fans of big, bold ideas, it's still worth digging up. Continuum. Continuum is one of those shows that started as a cool time travel cop drama and quickly turned into something way more complex. It followed Kira Cameron, a law enforcement agent from a corporate-run dystopian future who gets thrown back to 2012 while chasing a group of rebels trying to change the timeline. As Kira adapts to the past, she begins to question who the real villains are and whether the future she's trying to protect should even exist. Smart, sleek, and surprisingly philosophical, Continuum tackled questions about free will, technology, and power without losing sight of character-driven storytelling. It definitely flew under the radar and was one of the most underrated sci-fi shows of the 2010s. Orphan Black. Orphan Black wasn't just a sci-fi show. It was a 5-season masterclass in acting, thanks to Tatiana Maslany playing an entire army of clones. It all starts when Sarah Manning witnesses a woman who looks exactly like her jump in front of a train and decides to steal her identity. That decision spirals into a wild conspiracy involving illegal cloning, shady biotech companies, religious cults, and government cover-ups. Each clone has a distinct personality, background, and accent, and Maslany nails every single one of them. The show balanced thriller, sci-fi, and heartfelt moments with whip-smart writing and a fiercely loyal fan base. It won awards, sure, but it still doesn't get the mainstream love it deserves. If you somehow missed Orphan Black, now's the time to fix that. Defiance. Defiance went big. Like, Earth has been terraformed by alien tech, and now humans and 7 different alien species live in a Mad Max-style frontier town kind of big. Set in the ruins of what used to be St. Louis, the show followed former soldier Nolan and his adopted alien daughter Arissa as they tried to keep the peace in a city full of tension, tech, and bad blood. The show was ambitious, full of wild alien designs, complex interspecies politics, and an impressive mix of sci-fi world-building and Western grit. Defiance ran for 3 seasons, and while it didn't get the love it deserved, it built a world worth revisiting. 12 Monkeys. If you saw the 1995 movie with Bruce Willis and thought, "This is cool, but I wish it was longer, smarter, and somehow even more mind-bending," 12 Monkeys the series is what you're looking for. What starts as a simple time travel mission to stop a deadly plague quickly evolves into a complex, emotional, and incredibly well-plotted epic that spans centuries, alternate timelines galore. What really sets the show apart is how carefully it builds its mythology while still hitting you in the feels. It's one of those rare shows that gets better as it goes and sticks the landing. Criminally underrated when it aired, 12 Monkeys is a must-watch for sci-fi fans who love puzzles, payoffs, and fate-twisting chaos. Stitchers. In Stitchers, the government develops a secret program that lets people stitch into the memories of the recently deceased to solve crimes. The story follows Kirsten, a woman with a rare neurological condition that makes her the perfect candidate for the job. Each week, she dives into someone's mind Matrix style to gather clues from their final moments. It's part sci-fi thriller, part murder mystery, with a dash of romantic tension and quirky lab banter. While the science was often more fiction than fact, the show leaned into its concept with confidence and style. It only lasted 3 seasons, but it offered a unique twist on the procedural formula and carved out a niche as one of Freeform's most original genre shows. Dark Matter. Dark Matter had one of the best cold opens in sci-fi TV. 6 strangers wake up on a spaceship with no memory of who they are or why they're armed to the teeth. From there, it becomes a twisty, character-driven ride through betrayal, identity, and shady galactic politics. Each crew member has a mysterious past, and watching them wrestle with who they were versus who they could be gives the show a strong emotional core. It's part space opera, part noir thriller, with enough evil corporations to keep things pulpy. Dark Matter had real cult quality, but was sadly canceled after just 3 seasons and a major cliffhanger. Still, it's a hidden gem for anyone who loves found family dynamics and morally gray space rogues. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency was a genre-defying roller coaster of bizarre mysteries and eccentric characters. The show followed Dirk, an eccentric detective who believes in the interconnectedness of all things, and his reluctant sidekick, Todd, played by none other than Elijah Wood. Together, they stumble through bizarre mysteries involving time travel, body swapping, psychic assassins, and a kitten shark. The show embraced chaos with open arms, and every episode felt like it was holding back the punchline until the very last moment. It was smart, stylish, and unapologetically weird. Sadly, it only lasted 2 seasons, but those who watched it are still yelling, "Bring it back!" into the void of canceled brilliance. The Gifted. Set in a world where the X-Men have mysteriously vanished, The Gifted followed a family on the run after their teenage kids discover they have powers. Soon, they're swept up into an underground mutant resistance, fighting back against an oppressive government agency known as Sentinel Services. The Gifted delivered action-packed chases, strong character arcs, and themes that felt very relevant, dealing with fear, identity, and what it means to be different in a world that wants you silenced. It had a grittier tone than other similar shows, and leaned more into survival drama than superhero spectacle. The series ran for only 2 seasons and ended on a serious cliffhanger, but it remains one of the most grounded and emotionally resonant mutant stories on TV. Honorable mentions. Before we get to our final pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Sci-fi shows from the 2010s that didn't make the main lineup, but still brought some wild ideas and serious potential. There's Revolution, where the world loses power and sword fights make a comeback, and Star-Crossed, a teen romance with alien segregation metaphors and glowing tattoos. Colony gave us a grounded, slow-burn alien occupation story with big twists, while Under the Dome trapped a town under a mysterious force field and got weirder by the episode. Alphas explored grounded superpowers before it was trendy, and Travelers quietly delivered one of the smartest time travel stories of the decade. Outcasts gave us space colonists with political tension and existential dread, and Killjoys served up stylish bounty hunters in space with snark and swagger. Finally, Almost Human had Carl Urban and a robot cop buddy setup that deserved way more love, and Humans tackled AI, identity, and ethics in a way that was quietly brilliant. Each of these shows brought something unique to the sci-fi landscape, and they're absolutely worth revisiting. Counterpart. Counterpart is what happens when sci-fi puts on a suit and tie and decides to get serious. This cerebral thriller starred J.K. Simmons in a dual role, playing two versions of the same man from parallel worlds that diverged decades ago after a Cold War-style experiment split reality. One is a mild-mannered bureaucrat, the other, a cold, lethal spy. As the two worlds spiral toward conflict, Counterpart explores identity, surveillance, and the quiet horror of realizing your life could have gone very differently. It's slow-burn sci-fi at its smartest, full of espionage, moral gray zones, and sharp writing. It flew under the radar, but absolutely deserves a second glance. Do you agree with our picks for these forgotten 2010 sci-fi shows? Are there any series you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments. Check out the first 2 parts of this video series on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.